What do you think of Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin is a great... Whoa. Today's topic is Bitcoin. Now, Bitcoin has, every now and then it gets in the news because a lot of people trade it. Right now it's about $9,300, I believe. And it reached an all-time high of around 20,000. Now, a lot of people, they're really fascinated by Bitcoin. I think there's almost a little bit of mystery behind Bitcoin because a lot of people do not even really seem to understand what Bitcoin is. So I'll get into that. Bitcoin basically is a decentralized way of making payments to others, and of course the value of Bitcoin, it goes up and down. It does not remain at a fixed level. So right now it's 9,300, but tomorrow it could be 6,000, or maybe it's 20,000 or 100,000 in the future. And that's why a lot of people right now like Bitcoin. They like the fact that they could trade it and they can make more money if it goes up in value. But if you think about it, the one problem that I have with Bitcoin is no one seems to use it for the reason that people use currencies, which is to buy products and services. Do you know a lot of people who take Bitcoin? Some people do. I notice that people who have controversial content, they do choose Bitcoin, and for good reason, because a lot of the credit cards companies, some of them are kind of, they don't like controversial people or ideas, so they'll actually just cut them off. But you can't cut people off from Bitcoin. There's no grandmaster, there's no special king who says, hey, you can't sell that, you can't talk about that and sell it. So that's why a lot of people do use Bitcoin. Like, I notice a lot of people have been banned on all bunch of platforms, and they can still get donations through Bitcoin because it's not possible. It's decentralized. It's sort of like the original concept of the internet, which has been a little bit lost, which is that no one controls it. It's completely free from any kind of power that can control or censor people. So that's one of the great things about it. I think that it's also great for people who want to take money out of an authoritarian regime. Like, let's say you're someone in China, you have that worthless currency with the Mao on it, and you want to get it out of there. Well, you can't get it out of China so easily, but at least up until recently, a lot of Chinese would buy Bitcoin, because once it's in Bitcoin, they can go anywhere in the world and have that Bitcoin converted into a different currency. So it's like a great loophole for people who want to get money out of a authoritarian regime that has capital controls. But do I think Bitcoin will last long term? I actually think this digital currency, it's onto something. It's a good idea. It's moving in the right direction. Decentralized, get the power away from the man. But I think the biggest question will be whether Bitcoin succeeds at that. As you know, the original internet, it had a whole bunch of companies that just went out of business, but the internet is still here. So it's probably going to be very similar to that, maybe, because one of the problems with Bitcoin also is that there can only be like 7 transactions a second. That's really not enough. Like Visa, MasterCard do thousands per second, so you're going to have to be a lot faster if you're going to get people around the world using this kind of digital currency. But I can see why a lot of young people, they are giving up on the regular currencies like the US dollar, euro, or the Asian currencies like Japan and China, because they see that these countries, they have an enormous amount of debt. And the problem with debt is that eventually it means government debt, that is. So one problem with government debt is that eventually it has to be paid back. And how does the government do that? They lower the value of the currency. So a lot of young people are really into Bitcoin because they instinctively understand that their hard work, which they earn in their government's currency, will eventually go down in value. So they do like that. They don't seem to like gold for some reason, even though gold is more of what I call a proven alternative currency, because it's been around thousands of years and people have no problem accepting gold. The only problem with gold is that it's very heavy to transport. That's probably one of the most frustrating things about that kind of alternative currency. Whereas Bitcoin, buy and sell on your computer, no problem. But I think the security of Bitcoin is also a problem. That's one reason why I won't be buying it. I've seen too many horror stories of people who had their Bitcoin just stolen online. I'm thinking it just seems very lax. It's not the kind of security I'm kind of used to. I think we need to really definitely improve the level of security that exists with Bitcoin. Up until that's fixed, I can't really imagine that people will want to have their money stored in Bitcoin. Also, they won't want the volatility that exists in Bitcoin today, because if it's a currency and not a stock, you don't want your currency moving up and down in a crazy level. And maybe at some point it will be more stable. So a lot of people, I know one person who trades Bitcoin, and one thing that's cool about it, he said, is that it actually trades the way stocks used to trade. That is, in a much more normal, natural manner. Of course, the declines on Bitcoin are pretty incredible. Sometimes it's gone down 97%. So I think most people would not really like Bitcoin for that reason. Although so far I think it went down 90% 3 times, and in either case did it just go out. Now it does seem as when you go on the internet, there are a lot of really extremely committed Bitcoin enthusiasts, and that's probably what you need at first in order to get it mainstream, because the internet was kind of like that too. You just had a lot of nerds, and right now Bitcoin is kind of a nerdy thing too, in a sense that it's a narrow audience. It's not really mainstream whatsoever yet. And in fact, I don't even really know how to acquire or sell Bitcoin at all. So I haven't really had the mindset or the interest in it yet. But I do think that is something that people will be interested in the future. I also, oh, look at this. Hey. See, I was ready for it. Oh wow. Hey. Oh. Now, what do you think of Bitcoin? I think Bitcoin is a great. Whoa. So, what I think is really an important insight is the purpose of a currency is to actually use it, and not really to trade it. I mean, there are a lot of trading vehicles for stocks, bonds, derivatives, options. People love to trade that. But when it comes to currency, the point is to actually use it. And so it's kind of a strange thing that it's a trading vehicle. And until you start seeing Bitcoin like at the supermarket, I think it will not have mainstream purpose, because most people are very practical. They're not nerds. They actually have to have a reason for buying Bitcoin. They just want to play with it. They're not interested in that, oh, we're gonna teach the man, we're gonna be secretive. That's not exactly how people are thinking. They're very practical. That's the one reason why people are very content with the US dollar, even though it goes down in value, is that it's practical. Everybody takes it. In fact, they take it almost everywhere in the world. Very easy to exchange it. So that's a major reason why the dollar is so popular, whereas Bitcoin has a lot of enthusiasts, but so far no mainstream support. So most important thing, whether you like Bitcoin or you don't like Bitcoin, you have to smash the like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell, because you're going to see another cool video in the near future. See ya.